So a little cognitive behavioral therapy work here. It's funny because I don't even really use that, modality of energy, label in my system at this point. But it is probably predominantly what I do. People ask me that. It is what I do. I just don't think of it as a technique. I just naturally do it anyways. So it came to me that obviously when we're anxious and when we're stressed and whatever the case may be, we'll have a thought, and that thought will lead to a feeling, and that feeling will lead to a conditioned response, meaning a response that has been conditioned into our mindset that we always do. And for the most part, what that response does is then it jacks up more feeling, which jacks up more thoughts. So you have thought, feeling, conditioned response. Then conditioned response increases the feeling, which increases the thoughts. So if we try to change one of the, let's look at changing one of all three. So let's try to change the thought. So we'll just go to the thought, and I'm going to do the classic, whatever you do right now, do not think of an elephant. So if you're like me, or like probably 99.999% of humans, you thought of an elephant immediately. You might not have wanted to, you might have thought of it and then tried not to think of it, or whatever the case may be. It doesn't matter. As soon as I say elephant, you know what I mean? They're thinking of an elephant. And so that's the thing with thoughts. The thoughts just come, whether they're rational, irrational, make sense, have not, we have something like 80,000 thoughts a day, or that the human mind just develops, puts out there. Obviously, they're important, and they're building blocks and tools to how we, navigate through this world and figure things out and create and all this kind of stuff. However, the actual thought is just a piece, So to change a thought, we absolutely can, but not by trying to change a thought. Again, don't think of a pillow. Just don't think of a pillow right now. Well, so you can't do it. So the reality is we need to let the thoughts be. Okay, so now let's just try to change feelings. You're feeling a little sad. Stop feeling sad. You need to feel better. Well, maybe that'll work 1% of the time, but only because you're already willing to feel better. More than likely, you're going to feel upset that you're being invalidated, that the person is not listening or not getting it. Can't feel better when you feel sad. Or you're feeling so sad and somebody's like, man, this really, be careful. This might not last. You know what I mean? You're not going to want to buzzkill yourself. You know what I mean? If you're feeling good. So, trying to change feelings is, again, that's like, getting stuck in a tar pit. You know what I mean? It's just like you go in and then now you're stuck here, and you put in and you're trying to get it, and now you're stuck like this, and you're not going to be able to change your feelings. Yes, they will shift and change. Trust me, 100% on their own. And even if you think you're changing them, they're just, the wind is blowing and it's time for a different feeling. Because even though the feelings are on top of the thoughts can create a different feeling, but you can't change the feeling by just changing it. So if we focus on trying to change the thoughts, it's irrational. It just won't happen. If we try to focus on changing the feelings, it will snap back on us. So then the third part is the conditioned response. Now that we can change. Why? Because all of our responses are conditioned. So if they're conditioned or preconditioned, we can recondition them. We can shift them through trial and error, through practice, how we respond to the thought, the feeling, and then our response. We create a space and we shift our response. Once we do that and we shift our response, our feeling automatically changes. We don't have to change our feeling. It will change. It will automatically change. And if you change the feelings enough, the thoughts underneath them start to blow away. Like literally, they're not grounded anymore. They just go somewhere else. They go to another topic, subject, whatever it is. Some of us do it quick. Some of us do it slow. It doesn't matter. It's mindset. So That's what we focus on, our response. So what is a conditioned response? So again, I have a thought, and then by the way, also thoughts, exponential over and over and over again become beliefs. And reinforced, they become beliefs. So really underneath the thought process is the belief, because that's why the thoughts will change, but the belief is still anchoring that, and the belief anchors the feelings. So our conditioned response starts to give space between the belief and gives us an opportunity to challenge our irrational, ineffective belief systems. So one of the big ones that most of us have, I have had it and continue to, just not at the extensive level that it used to be, but that we don't deserve. We don't deserve good. We deserve mediocre or bad at best. You know what I mean? We don't deserve like a good life. And then we have to prove it, and we're proving it to nobody, and we're stressed out and burned out and self-medicating, right? So, or escaping that or figuring out or whatever. So the belief is don't deserve. The thought is I'll never get that. The feeling is I'm sad. And the conditioned response is this kind of boredom or discontentedness or ineffective attention, and I just can't stay with it, trust, I don't, whatever, I procrastinate. That's the conditioned response. So that we can change, another word for it is behavioral. So we got cognitive, behavioral, but I like to call it the conditioned response. We can change that. We can change our behavior. We can look at that and say, okay, I feel like this, I believe this, I'm thinking that, but I'm not going to sit in this. I am not going to keep rehashing this. So that's when I need to, move a muscle, change a thought. I shift what I'm doing. I trust. I take suggestions. I'm open for feedback. I develop, I say no when I've always said yes. I say yes when I've always said no. Just literally challenging myself one situation at a time. If I try to take on like 30 of them, I'm going to go the same loop. And by the way, why would I do 30 of them? Because the irrational belief is I need to be perfect. I need to be already done and well and better. And so that's why I need to do 30, 40. And I don't get them all done. And my irrational belief is I stink. I'm a loser. I'm no good. Again, these are all irrational beliefs based on systems that were developed. So I can't just change that belief until I change my behavior that shows me differently. And then I get the support in the process with those that mirror it back to me that I have shifted it. And then the belief changes. It unlocks. The feelings start to subside or shift differently. And then the thoughts are more freeing. So change your conditioned response to open up to a sense of freedom and fulfillment in your life, and then rinse and repeat. Go back into changing the response. Forget about what your thoughts are. Always know what your beliefs are. But ask yourself, do I really need this belief? And if you say yes, then keep it. If you're still struggling and suffering because of it, well, then just at least own it, that's why you're struggling and suffering. That's a different response. Owning it. So we can always I call it backdoor it. We can always backdoor ourselves with these different responses so that we can gain this sense of shift to have our sense of freedom and fulfillment.